this what's happening at the moment. The wait times for driving tests don't seem to be improving when you want to book a driving test, and it's frustrating because I'm going to give you two examples what's happened recently. A couple of my students who didn't pass. One of them didn't pass at the end of October, so went online on Monday morning. I said, "So leave it with me. I'll rebook your test for you." So I went online on the instructor booking system, and it was May. Try and put the details in, wouldn't accept it. So I contacted the student. I said, "Oh, I tried to put your details in, but won't accept it. It's May. Theory's run out." So when it runs out mid-April. So we're talking 6 months away. It is, and I felt quite sorry for her because she's got a year and a half on a theory test before it runs out. But getting a driving test before that 6 month period is going to be quite hard for her. So it's really frustrating, and I bet there's a few people watching this who've been in the same position. So she said to me, "What can I do then? Because if it's saying May for driving tests, then I'm not going to be able to take my driving test again." So the only things we can do at that point is for us to keep logging on. I said, try logging on in the evening, like about 5:30, or even try logging on a Monday morning. But Monday morning is an absolute nightmare for a student. You could be waiting half an hour, 45 minutes before you actually get on the system sometimes in the queue. But log on in the evening and you might be looking to find someone. So she's going to start doing that. And the other thing would be is, and this is where with the long wait times, it's actually quite hard because I said to the students, well, what you could do is rebook your theory test a month away. Right, to her. And she's saying, well, I've got 6 months on my theory before it runs out. Can I do that? Well, you can do, yeah. Just rebook your theory and just see if it goes through. And if it goes through, great, get it rebooked. Because if you can get it rebooked, then you've got another theory test booked in. It's going to last another 2 years. And then you're not waiting then for it to run out. And it's going to cost you £23. And then you can get a driving test booked, which is still going to be 6 months away. But at least you've got a driving test booked. And then once you've got a driving test booked, you can hopefully bring it closer. So that's the rigmarole that we're having to go through, which is a bit of a pain in the backside, really, for them. And if she's lucky enough, she might actually find a driving test before April in the evening. But that's a slim chance. It might happen, it might not. You just look at the draw, really. If you log on at that point there and you manage to get one, great. And the other options, because I want to give you all the options, because if you've not come across this, then it's going to be a total surprise for you. So the other options would be use an app, and I'm sure there's a few apps out there that can book you the driving test and sort it out for you. But I'm not going to recommend any of them because I might be wrong in recommending the wrong ones. And then there's that final option where you pay someone who's making lots of money off you, who's booked up loads of driving tests, which is really wrong. But some people do that because they feel like they've got nowhere to go. And I do feel sorry for them when they do that because they might be paying £200-300 for a driving test, which is like blackmail, isn't it, really? They're kind of blackmailing you to get your test rebooked. And then there's a lot more pressure then on that person because they've paid that amount of money. So it's quite a tricky one. But if you do go down that line, just remember you're giving your data, your information to some stranger you've not even met. They could be using that, harvest that information, and reuse your license number to rebook another driving test. And so that's just one example. So the other one would be, I had a student fail this week, and she's pulling her hair out. Well, what do I do? So I told her the same sort of thing. Well, we really need to get your driving test booked. So her theory's not run out. So come Monday morning, I'm going to log on. I'm going to book a driving test for her. It's going to be May. And then we need to try and bring it closer. And that's going to be the hard bit. She's going to try and use an app again and bring it closer. I think, well, I can't remember what app she uses, but like I say, I'm not going to mention the app's names, but people who've been using the apps know what they are, and she's going to try and bring it closer, and that's her option. And it might work out all right for her. If she's lucky, she might get a retest in the next month. And I hope she does, because like I say, when people are failing, I'm putting them in. I know they can pass, but they're failing for a mistake that happens on the day. And because they know, all the students know, there's a long wait to rebook your driving test, it's putting more pressure on them. And I think that's what's caused them to make a little mistake every now and then. They're either being overcautious and they're not driving like they normally do, or it's just the pressure of knowing that if they fail, it's a long wait for them. So I feel sorry. Now, I'm not having to go to examiners, because they're working hard as they can. They're doing overtime, trying to get extra tests in. And, and I keep getting emails saying that there are so many thousand tests extra this month and so on. So they are working hard. But, and the DVSA are saying they're closing all these accounts of people who are bulk buying driving tests, because that is making the students' life a misery. It's making instructors' lives a misery, because you can't plan it. Because if I cast my mind back 5-8 years ago, the wait time would have been about, at the latest, probably, if it's a really bad area, you might be talking 14-16 weeks. And then when it gets about 18 weeks, the DVSA will put a lot of examiners in that area to bring the test waiting times down. But you could get a test within a month or two quite quickly. But the DVSA say that they're closing lots of accounts that have people who are bulk buying them, and I think it's about 200 or 300 accounts they've closed over the last year or so, something daft like that. But these people who think they're making lots of money out of it, they're making it miserable for everyone, unfortunately. Students, instructors, because what happens then when the person doesn't pass, they're not going to want lessons for the next 6 months off you, so they're going to go on hold. So they're either going to, if they're lucky, they've got a car to practice with the parents. If they're not lucky, they're going to be at home, and they're going to be not doing any lessons for the next 3 or 4 months. And then when they get a driving test booked, or when it gets closer, they'll be contacting you to squeeze you in, and you have to make space for them. So it's a difficult one for instructors as well. Okay, so hopefully it's given you an insight for when you do take your driving test. If you are taking your driving test, you just got to say to yourself, focus on keeping things normal like you do on your driving lessons. Keep it safe. Good luck. Safe driving.